shit! What? God damn it!
In our previous breakdowns, we dismantled the dark logic of Billy Butcher and the terrifying inevitability of Homelander. We looked at the man who chose to become a monster and the god who never had a choice. But to understand why the world of the boys is a meat grinder that never stops turning, we have to look past the capes and the lasers. We have to look at the boardroom. The common consensus is that Vought International is just a corrupt corporation, a parody of modern media giants. But that is the surface narrative. On CineLogic, we don't settle for the easy answers. If you look at the cold, clinical logic of the Vought Doctrine, you realize they aren't just a company. They're the architects of reality where humanity is obsolete. Today, we are dismantling the intent of the corporate minds behind the compound V curtain. Vaught's first and most important rule is simple. Nothing is a person. Everything is a product. We see this most clearly in the logic of a laboratory. Homelander wasn't raised. He was manufactured. From the moment he was born, every human interaction was filtered through a corporate lens. Logic tells us that empathy is a learned behavior, usually gained through parents and peers. But Vought intentionally removed those building blocks, touch, unconditional love, and privacy, to ensure they didn't get a person. They wanted a product that was powerful, needy, and controllable. This is the core of the Vought Doctrine, the belief that power is most profitable when it is tethered to a psychological vacuum. By creating a god in a cage, Vought ensured that their greatest asset would always be dependent on the hand that feeds him, not for food, but for the validation of a curating. The biggest logic flaw in Vaught's design wasn't the creation of a monster. It was the need for that monster to be a brand. They taught their creations that their value is tied directly to public approval. If the numbers are up, they are loved. If the numbers are down, they are nothing. This creates a feedback loop where violence becomes inevitable. A man who can laser buildings doesn't need a crowd unless he's been programmed to believe he's invisible without one. Vought understands that fear is a deterrent, but the need for love is a vacuum that can never be filled. By commodifying morality, Vought has turned being good into a marketing metric. They don't need their heroes to be heroes. They just need them to look like heroes while acting like celebrities. This removes a massive power and reveals a terrifying reality. In this system, the only thing stopping a god is a fragile, psychological thread held by a corporation. Why does Vought allow supervillains to exist? Why is the world of the boys constantly on the brink of collapse? Because the logic of the series dictates that as long as we worship power, we will eventually be destroyed by it. Vought doesn't want to fix the world. They want to own the disaster. The Vought Doctrine relies on the worship trap. They wanted a savior they could sell. But a savior is only valuable if there is something to be saved from. Logically, the most efficient way to maintain a high Q rating is to ensure a constant supply of threats that only Vought products can solve. Homelander isn't a glitch in this system. He is the system's greatest achievement. He is the product functioning exactly as it was designed, to be the final result of our collective worship of strength over character. We often hear the phrase, power corrupts. But logically, power doesn't change who you are. It just removes the consequences for being yourself. For a Supe, laws and physical limits don't exist. The only consequence is the will to be feared, replacing the need to be loved. Vought manages this by maintaining an illusion of accountability. When a product like Homelander has a realization that no one can actually stop him, Vought doesn't see a breakdown. They see a risk to the factory. They aren't trying to fix the villain because a fixed villain isn't profitable. They are simply managing the transition from the need to be loved to the will to be feared until the experiment is over. The reason the Vought Doctrine is so dangerous is that it wasn't just Vought who created it. It was the public. We demanded a hero who looked like a deity, but acted like a celebrity. If it wasn't John, the system would have produced Ryan. If not Ryan, then Soldier Boy. The system is designed to produce a Homelander because that is what a society that values icons over humans deserves. Once the product officially takes over the factory, the logic of the laboratory is complete. We are left with a world where the only thing more dangerous than a man with absolute power is a corporate mind that convinced him he needed our permission to use it. So, here's a question for comments today. If you were a corporate executive at Vought, and you knew that creating a god would eventually lead to the destruction of the world, but it would make you the most powerful person on Earth for the next 20 years, would you sign the order? Is our own greed and need for icons the reason the Vought Doctrine works? Let me know your thoughts below. If this logic dive made you see the suits in the boardroom differently, hit that like button. And if you're new here, subscribe to CineLogic. We don't just watch the show, we dismantle the intent. Next time, we're looking at the collateral damage, the people the system forgot. I'll see you in the next one.